Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
Google has found a new way to piss me off.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Every time I say it, it's going to suck even more.
Everyone's idiots.
I am Nadella. I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing.
Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I'm your host tonight, Caleb. I'm here with Landon.
Hello.
And again, I'm hosting, which means Wes is not with us. He is being a homeowner, is what that comes down to, which, if you know, listener, you know. And if you don't, that's maybe not surprising. But so we're here with tech news for this week. And there was not a ton.
No.
There was not a whole lot going on, but that's okay. Maybe that means we'll have a shorter episode. Maybe. No promises. Yeah, let's jump right in. So we're going to start with some Apple news, which is several products rumored for announcement this week. So in his latest Power On newsletter, because that is the name of Mark Gurman's newsletter that he publishes via Bloomberg, he has said he expects a number of Apple announcements this week. Now, if you remember, one of the quote-unquote events that was on our radar for the end of last year was the Mac Your Calendar event in late October, which turned out to not really... so bad, which turned out to not really be an event so much as it was just a series of press releases. That is sort of what Mark Gurman is talking about here. The Gurmanator is expecting us to see probably a new iPad Pro lineup with the M5 chip and an increase in the amount of RAM, but that's it. You know, just a spec bump. And a new Vision Pro, which is also receiving a spec bump. He's saying the M5. Previous rumors said that Apple was testing this thing with an M4, but if they're updating the iPad to the M5, it does make sense that they would also update the Vision Pro to the M5. Okay. There's also possibly going to be an updated input processing chip thing that they have in the Vision Pro that's supposed to, reduce latency and whatnot for the cameras. He was less specific on whether or not we should expect that, but seems likely given previous rumors. And then a refresh of the 14-inch MacBook Pro, which, to be clear, is not really... It's just the base model, right?
It's not a MacBook
They're going
Pro.
Right. It's the MacBook version of the MacBook Pro. If you take the Pro off, this is what you get.
Yes.
It's the 14-inch MacBook Pro chassis with an M5 chip in it, which is the base model M series chip, which, because it's base model chip, probably shouldn't really be getting a Pro moniker, but that's neither here nor there. Nothing real crazy expected to be happening beyond that. And then we should be seeing the M5 Pro and M5 Max chips launching in the MacBook Pro early next year. So, yeah, that's it. The big changes that we're kind of hoping for with the MacBook Pro lineup, such as upgrades to an OLED display and potentially touchscreen. I still don't know why anybody is asking for that with Mac OS, but okay. That is still like a 2027 kind of time frame thing, so this is essentially just a spec bump. And then that's kind of it. Gurman did say he's expecting updates to the entry-level iPad, the iPad Air, the MacBook Air, the Studio display is supposed to be getting a new one, as well as new models of the Apple TV and the Mac Mini are like quote unquote on the roadmap, right? Those things are all coming. It's not, he hasn't really said anything on timing for a few of those updated HomePods and AirTags, Apple TV. Those are not he has no timeline for those, but says that updates are coming. And then the other stuff, new entry-level iPads and iPad Air, MacBook Air, stuff like that is an early 2026 launch timeframe. So not a whole lot going on, but updated updated iPad Pros and a slightly updated entry-level MacBook. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, this is all pretty on par for Apple for the last couple years. Like the new M chip typically comes inside the new iPad Pros and maybe a MacBook Pro or something, and then it also makes sense that the lower level iPads and Mac Mini will get updated next March because that's typically when that happens, and because there's new chips, there's got to be new versions of those products with the newer chips. It all makes sense. And I don't think this is really that surprising to anybody that really follows this stuff.
No.
I think the biggest thing out of this is going to be just how big of a step is the M5 from the M4, because the M4 was a noticeable jump from the M3, definitely the M2 and even the M3. It was still a decent jump from that. I don't expect the M5 to be as big of a jump from the M4 just because of how good the M4 was. But, new processors are always nice to have.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. If the prices for these things stay about the same, then all right, you're just getting the new version. It's got slightly upgraded specs. It'll last a year longer kind of thing. It's the progression that we wanted back when Apple first announced they were going to be moving everything over into their in-house custom silicon, right? This was what we wanted. Yearly spec bumps for all their computers instead of sitting for 2, 3, 4 years between any kind of meaningful update to their lineups, which was what was happening with the Macs in particular. So
thanks,
Intel.
This
is, good old Intel. So no, this is welcome. I like to see it. Nothing groundbreaking here. Nothing earth-shattering. Probably nothing that's really going to influence purchasing decisions for most people. I will say I'm kind of looking forward to it because I am in the market for a used iPad, and new iPad Pros launching mean that the rest of them are going to come down in price a little bit.
Yeah.
So, hey.
I mean, at that point, you could get an M3 iPad Pro for $400 or $500.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's currently $550. I'm hoping it drops down closer to $400, and I will snatch one of those things up in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm looking forward to. No mention from the Germinator if we are going to be seeing any redesigned Apple mice at this point, which is, I believe, going to be Apple's last chance to fulfill that particular item from my wish list for this year. So, Apple, for the love.
You know what's so they're going to come out with a quote unquote new mouse. The only thing that's going to be changed is it's going to have some sort of MagSafe charging, and it's going to be the dumbest version of MagSafe where you have to put it on the puck. It's not going to be similar to the laptop MagSafe where it's a cable that just plugs into one end. No, it's going to be you have to put it on the MagSafe puck that works with your phone or your Apple Watch, and then you still won't be able to use it while you're charging it. Because why? Why would you want to use your mouse while it's charging? That makes no sense.
Yeah. No, that nobody wants that. Especially not Apple.
No.
So that's the Apple news for this week. Just to say there's not much been going on, but hopefully next week I'll have some actual Apple news.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to Google news, where Landon is going to the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. God, love it, just rolls off the tongue, is now available.
Rolls off the dilapidated tongue. Yep. Yeah, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is now available. And I've read and watched a few different reviews on this phone. The consensus seems to be that if you love Pixel and you just have to have a folding phone, this one's for you. Other than that, you probably don't need it. Like everything I've seen is saying it's a good phone. It's a Pixel phone, so you know what to expect on the software side of things. But it's not. I mean, they have to use the Pro moniker for some weird reason, even though it doesn't have the same Pro camera sensors as the Pro phone or the regular 10 Pro. They're just slightly below that. And the screen's not the same size, and lots of different things. And like, if you compare this hardware-wise to the Samsung Fold, whichever one, the Galaxy Fold 7, I think is what they're on. Like, that one is ridiculously thin. And like, when it's closed, it's about the same size as a regular phone. So it's way more usable when it's closed, has a bigger outside display when it's closed. And then also, in turn, obviously, a bigger inside display when it's open. And so, like, hardware-wise, it's definitely not the best fold you could buy. Other than everyone is raving about the new hinge on this phone because, like, it's supposed to be really, really nice, a lot better. And this is the only folding phone to have IP68 water and dust resistance. So there is that.
That's pretty good.
But again, pretty much everyone says, like, if you love having a Pixel phone and you just have to have a folding phone, this obviously is the only option, and then this is the one for you.
Well,
so
there you go.
Yeah.
Listen, that is a market of probably at least a dozen people.
I'm sure there are some people out there that this definitely applies to, but it's just not very many.
Yeah. Google, your phone just they're whoever is in charge of deciding how their phone models get put together and named and marketed and distributed. I have questions for them. It always seems to be just a little bit strange.
Yes.
But, oh well. Okay, we'll move on. Waze adds AI, except it's usable.
Yeah. Weird, huh?
Yeah.
Usable AI.
I don't believe it, frankly.
Well, this is actually something we have talked about in the past. Waze announced that this was coming a while ago. I don't know how long ago. It's been a while. But they are finally launching what they're calling conversational reporting. So basically what this does is if you use Waze when you're traveling on your commute or whatever, you can report accidents, or if there's construction, or if there's police, like speed traps or things like that, you can report that relatively easy. And most people, like everyone I know that uses Waze, really likes it and just raves about it. Like they won't, if you ask them about their map app, they won't shut up about Waze because it's supposedly that good. I haven't ever used it. I've debated on it for a long time, but I don't use map apps often enough to really justify going this far into it. But
yeah,
this new conversational reporting, as they're calling it, is basically just all you have to do is just hit the report button on the screen, and then just in natural speech, just say what's happening. So the way the Waze explained it is they say you're cruising down the highway and spot a sudden slowdown. All you need to do is tap the reporting button and speak naturally as if you're chatting with a friend. Looks like there are cars jammed up ahead. With the help of Gemini capabilities, Waze will understand what you're saying and quickly add a real-time report to the map for you. No need to use a specific voice command or tap extra buttons. So, if it works the way they say it does, this is actually really nice. It makes using it and reporting things way safer and easier.
Yeah.
So it's less distracting for the driver. Like if you have somebody that's your passenger, that's not as big of a deal. They could do it for you or what, but if you're by yourself and you're the only one in the car driving and stuff, then this is going to be extremely helpful and much nicer than how it was before.
Exactly.
So I do like that they're adding this. And like I said, they're finally rolling it out to users. It's kind of a slow rollout. And I believe right now it's only in the US. but it is coming. So keep a lookout for that if you use Waze.
Okay.
So there you go. Usable AI. Very nice.
Very good. Yeah, no, I'll let that slide. That one is, I remember we talked about that and I was like, that's pretty good. Because, yeah, it's like Apple Maps has the ability to report stuff like that, but it's like if you don't have a co-pilot,
Yeah.
don't bother.
Yeah.
There's no way you can safely do that. You're just going to crash.
Yep.
Unless I guess there was a crash in front of you already and you're fully just stopped, then I suppose you can do it. But
yeah, you don't want to have somebody
otherwise-
reporting your crash
exactly.
while you're trying to report another crash.
Yep. Good times. All right. Let's move on to Gemini for Home, which is here. Kinda.
Speaking of not usable AI,
Hey.
so we talked about this as well. I think last week we mentioned how Google had said that Gemini for Home is going to be rolling out, and then nobody actually had it. Well, it's kind of rolling out to very select users. So basically right now you have to be in the Google Home Early Access program. And the way you access that is by going into settings, and then there's an early access section, I suppose. And then if you're in there, then you might receive an email invite to be able to use this.
Oh.
Not everybody that's in there is getting this email yet. It's a very slow rollout.
Interesting.
And I actually don't hate that. Google is taking their time on this, making sure things are working. I'm hoping that's why they're doing it this way. And this is also US only for now. But I mean, some of the things, like you might be asking, Kate, what is Gemini for Home really going to give me? And what they're claiming is that it can provide can provide a summary of your camera video history. So say something happens at your doorbell or different cameras around your house, it can give you a summary of the day, I suppose. I don't know why we want that, but it's an option. You can also create home automations via voice. You can already create home automations inside the app, but this way you can do it just by saying, hey, if this happens, do this and such and whatnot.
Right.
But there's a caveat to that. The basic features, as they say, such as quick search, on-device queries, Gemini Live, those are free. But if you do want to do those home automations via just telling it to do these things, or if you want to, there's a feature on there called Ask Home. If you want to have it remember personal preferences, you have to have a Google Home Premium subscription of some sort. There are a couple different levels of that, and they offer different things depending on the level. And I actually don't know how much these cost, but everything I've read so far about these Google Home Premium subscriptions is you don't need them. So I guess if you really want to have some of these higher end features, I guess you can pay for it. And I did see somewhere that like the Google Home Premium Standard is included with its AI Pro and AI Ultra plans, which you definitely shouldn't have. But if you happen to, that's included. But the Google Home Premium Advanced is an extra $10 a month on top of the AI Pro and Ultra subscription. I assume it's probably $10 more than just what the regular Google Home Premium Standard. That's a dumb name. Google Home Premium Standard and Google Home Premium Advanced. Wow.
Oh man, that is pretty bad.
Yeah. But like I said,
Wow.
It is now rolling out-ish to very select users that are already signed up for this early access thing. So if you want to try it, I guess you can go and sign up for early access and then pray, do a rain dance, do whatever it is you do to try and get an email from Google about this. But there you go.
Yeah.
It is kind of here.
Well, I mean, that's better than absolutely nothing. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, I still, anytime I would talk about like, oh, we're putting AI in home automation and stuff like that, all I can think about is the Ray Bradbury story about the smart house that's getting nuked. That's a completely different vibe than what Google is going for, but
Yeah.
it's really quite melancholy and sad, listener. If you've never read that particular story, I recommend it. Ray Bradbury. Great short story, science fiction author. Anyways, let's jump into some general tech news that actually probably I should have talked about last week, but I totally spaced it.
I did too.
in terms of like, just talking about a bunch of stuff that made me sad, which is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be talking about stuff that makes me feel good about the state of technology. This is one of those things. Now, listener, I have come to a really kind of shocking realization that without really paying any attention to it or trying at all, I have somehow turned into a Logitech fanboy, at least in terms of their mice.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened here, but I have on my gaming PC what's it called? The G502 Hero, which is one of the best-selling gaming mice of all time. And I'll be completely honest with you, I got it because it looked like it was big enough to be comfortable in the hand, and it is. In addition to that, it also is a pretty good mouse. So that's nice. Glad that worked out. I also, like Landon, have an MX Master 3, which is, if you are using a Mac desktop computer and you are not buying Apple's big old trackpad, it is by far the best mouse you can get for that computer. The MX Master 3. Or at least it was. We'll get to that in a moment. I also have a couple, like a smaller MX, what's it called? I can't remember. It's one of the MX mice, though, which means it's their slightly higher tier professional ones, but it's the small travel sized one that I got from a previous job, actually. And then I went to a thrift store one time and got just another it's the MX Performance, which is an older, like pre-MX Master kind of professional Logitech mouse. These mice all have fantastic features. They're all designed ergonomically. Every single one of them has the infinitely scrolling scroll wheel. With, the MX Master 3, that thing, it's automatic. It switches back and forth between the two based on how you flick it, whether it's indexed or whether it's just spinning. And I love that as a Mac user. That's so fantastic. With the other ones, you have to push a button in order to free it up, but it's still super useful to have, even on Windows machines or anything like that. So, yeah, here I am, once again, demonstrating that I am kind of a Logitech fanboy when it comes to their mice. And they, a couple of weeks ago, announced the Logitech MX Master 4. So, the MX Master 3, I absolutely adore that mouse. The shape of the thing, so comfortable in the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Love the horizontal scroll wheel. That thing is absolutely killer. It's got a wonderful, all of these mice have forward and back buttons. Most of them also have another thumb oriented button that you can use for stuff. The MX Master just kind of boosts that a little bit by having an extra thumb button and then a pad button that you can kind of push down, and then you can map to swipe gestures and stuff like that to kind of mimic the way that you would swipe around on a Mac. And to be clear, all of that was designed for a trackpad in Mac OS, and Apple's trackpads are the reason why I still say anybody who thinks Macs should have touchscreens hasn't used their trackpads properly, because those trackpads mean you don't need a touchscreen.
Yeah.
Reaching up to use the touchscreen would slow you down. The trackpad is faster in every situation. Anyways, the MX Master gives you the ability to mimic a lot of that same functionality while also having a mouse that is comfortable to use, that has, great features built in. It's durable. The battery lasts forever, and you can use it while it's plugged in and charging.
Yeah.
All amazing features that Apple could not hope to match with a mouse. So, that being the case, what on earth are they going to change with the MX Master 4? And the answer is not a whole lot.
Yeah.
It is a very similar mouse. The shape of the thing is almost identical. It has most of the same buttons in the exact same place. They slightly tweak the positioning of the forward and back buttons. The wheel appears to be sitting slightly higher on the horizontal scroll wheel does. Very similar placement for all of this stuff. Slightly tweaked. They changed the materials on the outside of it to make it less stain prone, I suppose, which not an issue I've had with mine, but I do have the black one.
Yeah, I've got the black one as well.
Yeah, they make a quote unquote MX Master for Mac, which is white. And I can imagine that's probably the one that they're having issues with.
Well, it's interesting because like mine on the bottom says MX Master 3 for Mac, but it's also a black one.
Oh, okay.
So like you can find a black one that's for Mac. I think I got it at Best Buy, but the white one is the one that they typically advertise as for Mac. Even this MX4, they have a white one that is for Mac. Yep.
So yeah, I'd imagine that that's probably the reason that they were changing the materials on the outside of the thing.
Yeah.
It's, the way that it's been described, probably not going to be a super huge change to the feel of it. It's got the same like soft touch, clicky buttons on it as the MX Master 3S did, which the S stands for silent. It was a very quiet mouse, right? Like just did not make a whole ton of noise. I guess they've slightly redesigned the scroll wheel as well. It's supposed to activate the infinitely scrolling mode faster than it did before.
Which is surprising because it's already quite quick.
It's basically instantaneous already.
Like, I sometimes accidentally do that because I'm like, oh crap, it keeps scrolling. But
it's like, yeah, like if you flick it just too hard, it's all like, okay, here we go. You wanted the bottom of this webpage, right? Which, I mean, to be clear, sounds like a bad thing, but as a person who has used Apple's laptops, that's just a thing that can happen occasionally on these like inertial scrolling type scenarios. So yeah, I think the big ad here is haptics. They've put a haptic motor underneath the thumb rest, and the button over there that you can use to actuate the gestures and stuff like that is going to essentially align with the haptic feedback of this thing. So it's not going to be giving you haptic feedback when you like click the mouse buttons and stuff like that. It's for when you're using the side button, the side pad, to activate special gestures and stuff like that. So that's the big ad. Is that worth $120 if you already have an MX Master 3? Probably not. But if you're on an MX Master 2, or your existing MX Master kind of dies, or you're just now hearing about this mouse for the first time and you use a Magic Mouse on your Mac, which, for the love, stop. Your wrist will thank me. Yeah, look into it. Honestly, I love the MX Master 3. That thing is fantastic, and this looks like a really solid thing. And fortunately, there is no sign of like an AI button or anything like that. And so far, the CEO of Logitech, who once upon a time said, yeah, maybe we should be charging subscriptions for keyboards and stuff like that. So far, there do not appear to be any subscription related nonsense associated with this thing. So it's just a good mouse made by people who know how to make good mice. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with pretty much everything Caleb said, because ever since I bought this mouse, and I've had it for a few years, I've probably had it for at least 4 years.
Yeah. It's been a while.
And I've raved, like anybody that ever asked like about, and obviously there are not very many people ask me about mice for a computer, but it does happen. And it doesn't matter what type of scenario they're wanting a new mouse for. I'm like, you got to look at the MX Master 3, because it's just that. Even for like gaming, it's probably not the best gaming mouse you can buy, but it's a good starting gaming mouse because you can program it to do certain things and whatnot. And if it's wired, it's probably okay for that. Obviously, you wouldn't want to use a Bluetooth for that, but you could do it wired and it'd be fine.
I mean, there is the unifying dongle You can
Right.
always use that. That's a 2.4 gigahertz connection. It's probably not as fast as some other options, but it's going to be fast enough for most people. I think the biggest issue with something like the MX Master for gaming is the weight.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a heavy mouse for that. But that being said, the G502 Hero that I use is not that much lighter. Logitech makes super lightweight gaming mice. I don't use them because I honestly prefer a heavier mouse for gaming. And would I use my MX Master 3 to game? Well, no, because I already have a Logitech mouse plugged into my gaming PC where you're not listening, people. But no, it's a really solid all around mouse. It's big. I guess it would be hard to throw in a backpack. But like I said, they make a smaller MX class mouse that is more portable that you can use for stuff like that. It's just, yeah, especially if you have a Mac desktop. Don't use the Magic Mouse ever. It's a bad mouse. It's just bad. I actually made a YouTube video about it. It goes over Apple's mice through the years. It's called A Brief History of Pain. You should definitely check it out on YouTube. Calling All Platforms Tech.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're looking at that mouse already anyways, for $20 more, you can get a much nicer mouse. And like, it's interesting that this one's starting at $120 because I want to say the MX Master 3 started closer to $150 and then eventually came down.
I think it did originally.
Like, I remember finding when I bought mine, it was on sale for like $80. I'm like, so like I bought it like within a couple hours. I'm like, yeah, for that price, I'm buying it.
Yeah. Because
I had been looking at it for a while beforehand. And I saw it on sale. I'm like, I'm sold, buying it right now. And for $120, I mean, again, for $20 more than the Magic Mouse, you get way more functionality, way better ergonomics, just a way superior mouse in general.
And it's like very much the kind of thing where people are like, well, I mean, you can do pretty much all that stuff on a Magic Mouse. You can, but even Apple hasn't put haptics in their mouse yet.
Yeah.
I don't really know exactly what that's going to add, but I can totally foresee a situation where you're trying to use your mouse to do gestures. And sometimes those gestures are multi-layered in that, like, moving it in one way is going to do one thing and slightly tweaking it or stopping early is going to do something completely different. And having haptics to kind of indicate when you have hit bits and indexes along your gesture path to try and accomplish something, I can see that being really useful. I obviously have not tried it. Don't know for sure. But yeah, it's a really solid mouse. I love the MX Master series. They've been great since the beginning, but they just are refining them into this super, super high-end experience. So,
yep.
Okay. That is it for the tech news that we've got. We don't really have gaming news per se, but it is ridiculously ironic that this week Wes isn't here, and this is the episode after the first YouTube video I've posted on our gaming channel, which he has been mocking me over for well over a year.
Yeah.
So I have a little addendum. I'm putting it here in the podcast because at this stage, throwing a pinned comment to contain this information would not get it to the people that I want to see it. And listener, if you just so happen to be cross-pollinating between our YouTube channel and our podcast, I wanted you to know, specifically you, that I appreciate you. You're awesome. So this is just kind of a note to the broader Warframe community. Hot dang. Are y'all cool? So this is not the top performing video on that YouTube channel in terms of views or in terms of watch time. but it is by far the top performing in terms of the number of comments that it's gotten just over the course of 2 days or something like that. And I wanted to clarify for anyone that may be a little bit confused that the experience that I was going for with this video was we were talking about what free to play games are really like. The idea being, how free are they really? How much of the game do you actually get without paying any money? How often and how early does the developer start bugging you to start paying them for stuff? And is the game that you can access without paying actually any fun? Because those are common issues with free-to-play games. So I did not do a whole bunch of research going into this. I wanted to have a very fresh perspective on what Warframe is like for the new user. I started playing. I played for about a dozen hours, and I was never advertised to once. It was honestly kind of hard to even find the store where I could spend actual money. They kind of hide it. It's not hidden. It's just a very small icon, and it's not super clearly labeled. But I did find it eventually and started looking around through there. The simple fact of the matter is, the takeaway from that video, you can, in fact, play the entire game for free. The whole thing. That you can do all of it without paying any money. What do they require from you in return? You do have to grind, right? You have to have 1,000 spare hours to spend over the course of a few months, 6 months to a year, whatever, to unlock all of the stuff. For some of the stuff, it probably takes even longer. I don't know. I didn't look into it that far. But you can play the entire game without paying a dime. And the developers don't actually ask you for money ever, so far as I can tell. I obviously have not played it till the end game, but they never advertised anything to me at all. So, from that perspective, that's awesome. Is the game fun to play? If you like looter shooters and fast-paced run-and-gun action, it's great. So that was the takeaway from my video. And I just wanted to throw out to all of the Warframe community who have been absolutely lovely in the comments of that video, that are down there welcoming me, saying, we're so glad you're on board. Just wait. Just you wait until this. Just you wait until that. Actually, you missed this. You need to play more to learn this, and so on and so forth. Or, there were a few people who had comments all you only played for 12 hours. Man, you have no idea what Warframe is all about. And the simple truth is, that is correct. I don't understand the community of the game because I wasn't there to judge the community of the game. The community seems to be super open and welcoming and really nice. And that's great. I was judging the game itself. The game also seems to be super open and welcoming and really nice. And that's also great. And I appreciate the welcomes. I'm not going to be back. I don't. Nothing personal. The game was fun. I enjoyed my time with it. I do not wish to grind for the things that are in this game. It's not my cup of tea, but I super appreciate that this game is, in fact, free to play. They're letting you play the whole thing. It costs nothing. True to its word. I think that is rare in this world. So, thank you to the Warframe community for being so welcoming. Y'all are great. I am really thrilled that you have this awesome game. I hope that some of the people who watched that video were not already playing Warframe so that through the video and then through the comments, they could get excited about something like that existing. We can hope. We can hope. But I just want to toss that out there. Warframe community is great. If you, listener, do not in fact play Warframe, you can check out the video for my thoughts. You can check out the comments for a whole bunch of other people's thoughts. Or at this point, honestly, just go download it. If you like looter shooters, if you played any of Destiny and you liked it, go play Warframe instead. Because unlike Destiny, A, you can play the entire game without having to pay any money. And B, you as a new player will actually get to experience the entire game, as opposed to Destiny 2, which at this point, if you're just starting out, kind of like drops you in and is all like, hey, here's like 3 missions that give you a summary of the past, 8 years of content, but you're never actually going to get to play those 8 years of content. Sucks to be you. Warframe doesn't do that. Seems like it's really cool. If that sounds like it's your cup of tea, do it. And maybe actually chat with some people, maybe go to some forums and talk. They all seem to be extremely friendly and they'd love to talk to you. So there you go. Wanted to get that out there. Wanted to also slightly rub in, Wes, yes, I did publish a video. So there you are.
Yes.
Once you finish cleaning up all the water in your house.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't be rubbing stuff in. Anyways, that's a note to end on. Listener, I think that brings us to the end of the podcast. Unless, Landon, do you have one more thing?
No, I don't.
Okay. I mean, that would have given us an opportunity to at least have Wes with us for that for that moment. Oh well.
Yeah.
Okay. Then in that case, we're going to bring this to a close here. Thank you so much for joining us this week, listener. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate any feedback or comments that you would like to make. You can leave those on our website at callingallplatforms.com. You can get them to us via socials on Twitter and Facebook. You can also email us at podcast@callingallplatforms.com. And you can find an extremely active comment section on our latest gaming video on Calling All Platforms Gaming on YouTube. Or, there are other videos with other comment sections that are much older and significantly less active. But, you can also get in touch with us on those as well. Or you can find us right back here on the podcasting app of your choice next week. So until then, bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.